What's up, everybody? Episode 20 here of the AI Code Central podcast. Myself, Charlie, and Connor Douglas.
Yo, yo.
We are actually, you know what? This will be good. We're covering. What's your coach's corner,
We're gonna
Connor?
do some meta stuff today. So like setting up a page, trying to get your ad center going to start kicking up some campaigns. So we'll see how far we get because meta is notoriously known for just causing road blockages. But today will be page
Really?
cover, building a page, and then also trying to get some campaigns up and running. So
Dope. Awesome. And we also have a very special guest, Joseph Perla. He's the CEO of Hangout.fm. It's a very cool app. It's like, how would you describe it, Connor? Maybe like a chat room with like music, like playlists.
yeah, basically. I mean, in essence, that's what it is. It's like a chat room, or I mean, I don't know, even like a Discord group with everybody who's just sharing music, and I guess you round robin it and kind of just select what you want to play. But that's also based on like genres, artists, things like that. So it's not
Mhm.
just a free for all. But it looks really cool from everything I checked out, and Joseph himself is obviously very, very technical in how he built this thing out. So pretty cool to check out.
Yeah, very good insights obviously in AI. Yeah, he shared some projections on AI and how to build, how to build a moat for our builder audience. Yeah, great interview.
Yeah,
Let's catch up here. What's been going on with you?
oh, nothing really, man. It's kind of been an easy coast week for me, which is nice. I know I said I was going to get back into trying to build out the Klaviyo app. I said it didn't really happen. I got to get back on that train. I know it's just the never-ending grind of also trying to run a business on the side. But besides that, everything else has been okay. I think the one thing I want to bring up, I just really would love to get your perspective on it. And if you guys stay tuned, listen to the interview with Joseph Perla. There was something brought up about the winter, right? And
Hmm.
kind of this very abysmal sounding, lull in terms of AI. At least that's what I got from it, right? Like there's going to be this thing where the AI bubble or not bubble, whatever you want to call it, kind of pops, right? And things kind of take a few steps back. Charlie, what's your ultimate take on it? Because I just thought it was kind of a weird way to put it. And simultaneously, the way Joseph made it sound was like it was going to be like the worst thing that could ever happen imaginable in the AI space.
I think it's scary when just one company like OpenAI can introduce something as of yesterday, Monday, October 6th, something like Agent Builder and just crush like a million startups. And they just like you can make an agent like super simple. So N8N, I don't know about Zapier. I mean that's automations, but I think the big players, OpenAI, Anthropic, that I think they'll be all right. But I think for like some startups that don't foundationally build it, I think we'll be kind of in a tough spot. And
Just basically left behind.
I think so. It's I've been listening to like Bloomberg and I haven't got their app. Their app is garbage. Oh, I can't stand that thing. I got like the I don't know whatever intro month and I deleted it like the next day. Like I was trying to
What, the
sync it.
Bloomberg app?
Yeah, I was trying to sync it to my TV and it's just like it's hard to use and I just got poopy pants and I deleted it right away. So I can't even like I'm spending too much time trying to figure it out and sync it to my TV than like trying to just watch.
Then it's even worse.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to watch the new. Okay, anyway, so the point of all that to say is that I've been watching Bloomberg and they've been bringing it up, and it's like a hot topic. Do I think there'll be a bubble? I think so. I mean, I haven't been in technology for like a decade, so I've been in it less than a decade, and I mean, look at Bitcoin, and yeah, that was ugly for a lot of people, but I think there will be a burst bubble, but I think there'll be opportunity from that as well.
Yeah. No, I was just curious again because it was a topic you don't, I think, publicly hear a ton about, or at least a lot of people talking. I know you said recently you've been seeing it. It's kind of the first time I've
Yeah.
heard the subject almost broached, and it's very interesting to me to hear people's takes on it because Joseph definitely had one way of looking at it. My interpretation of it I think is a little different, but I mean it's
What
just one of those things I think people should kind of be cognizant of.
what are
And
your
I guess
thoughts
if
on it
you,
then?
I don't. I guess it's just kind of the way that it sounded was just like there's going to be what's the best way to put this? Like there's going to be a ceiling that gets hit at some point, right? And that was my takeaway from it. So unless I'm just not interpreting this the right way, it's like there's going to be this ceiling, and AI is only going to be so useful to a point as to where it starts becoming useless, right? Because there's only certain things it can do, and you're going to have, like you're saying, the open AIs of the world who are going to leverage it to its maximum capability, take advantage of that, roll it out, and leave all these startups in the dust. And there's not going to be much more you can do with it after some of these larger entities figure out what the capabilities are, right? And how far you can actually go with it until you've exhausted it or until it's not useful to you anymore. So my takeaway from it was, yes, AI is a rapid growing space. The building part of it is growing still, and it's very much a hot topic, but it almost looked or felt like there's this thing on the horizon where it's like, yeah, it's going to reach its potential. And in a few years, it's going to take a tailspin downward because there's only going to be a few companies who know how to leverage it best. And everybody else is going to kind of be left in the dust based on what you're capable of building. Right. So that was my takeaway. And again, it sounded a bit abysmal, but it made sense to me. Right. Because even when using AI myself, it's like, yeah, I kind of reach, I feel like certain thresholds of like, okay, this is what it's capable of doing. I can't really force it to do something else, and I'm better off just seeking an alternative route to get something done.
Let me back up. I sign up for this AI tool that you upload a YouTube URL and then it transcribes it for you.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to use. It was like sign up here, and then there was like a progress bar, which is cool. Like, okay, I know I have to wait this much time. And then during that time, I got like three emails after signing up. I got like three emails
Oh yeah, yeah. The
about it,
automation
and this
stuff.
is like like this is just stupid. I guess I mean it's a pretty like big company, and
Well,
um,
does what I'm saying make sense to you though too? Like in terms of my takeaway from it.
you take yeah, I think startup. It's kind of scary because it's like just very minimal apps. I think are just to me, I think are just done like single shot APIs, like single calls. I think those are
Yep.
done, but more into like these big. I think something bad is going to happen. I know it sounds like pretty gloomy, but yeah, I think something bad is going to happen.
Well,
I
gloom and
think
doom in what sense though? Like, what do you think would be like? What do you think is going to happen?
I think that I think OpenAI can do whatever they want. I mean, look at the announcement yesterday. I think they'll see like I think this is on Lenny's podcast. He had a guy come on and say there will be a new traffic channel on the internet, and it's probably going to be OpenAI because foundational model.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think they're going to make some bigger plays, maybe like a marketplace, which I guess is coming already. And
yeah.
I think the gloomy future for small startups is when these big incumbents, make a move that they can because they have the resources and they just crush like millions and millions of tiny players. So
Right.
OpenAI, Anthropic, 11 Lab, I think like they're fine, but just they kind of ramble on here. Just like the smaller players are the ones that will get crushed.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, I get that now. Okay, so
But the bubble, for big players, maybe that's why it's an arms race right now with hiring the right people and raising capital and all that. They're fine. I
yeah.
think it's just the startups is what I would be worried about.
Right. Well, no, it was just such a curious like thing that got brought up, and again, I haven't heard it really much before, but it's kind of just going through my head now, and the wheels are turning. It's like, all right, well, something to be cognizant of. And anyway, I digress too much. So as far as everything else, week's been great. No sports seems to upset me, as you all know. So that's always a good thing. But besides that, I mean, just kind of coasting, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, now that I'm 40, that's kind of tough. I've got, let me pull up my notes here. I keep a note on my,
Right, because he's 40, so he needs notes, everybody.
yeah,
Remember what he did.
I have to remember everything. I also got a new phone, the 17. It's pretty
You got the
cool.
17?
Yeah, I
Did you
got the
like it?
7. Yeah,
I just
it's all right.
pre-ordered it.
Oh, did okay. Yeah, like did you get the Max or the Pro?
I got the Pro Max.
Okay. Nobody around here had the Max. And so I was like, all right, I'll just all the AT&T stores were like sold out, so I had to go to Best Buy.
I
And
have to wait until November, the first week of November, for them
whew,
to get me the phone, which I thought
okay.
was wild, but
What did you
my
have
old one,
before?
a 14, so it was about time.
Oh, okay. I had a 13. So it was time. Yeah, the phone's dope. Badass phone. But we couldn't sync it at Best Buy. The Wi-Fi was like pretty bad. It was super slow. So I had to come home, sync it, back it up, sync it from my laptop, which means I had to go into every single app and like sign back in and do the whole like credentials thing. And that was just a pain in the ass. Other than that, the phone's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Pretty cool stuff. Went to a candlelight concert, 90s bangers. The
Did you
show
just go to
list,
one? What was the one you went to last week or the
the
week
one
before?
I went before was Hans Zimmer.
That's right.
Yeah, so it was like Batman theme song and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
uh this one is 90s bangers. So the playlist is as follows. Everlong, great song by the way, from Foo
Love
Fighters.
it.
Don't Speak from No Doubt, Zombie by the Cranberries, Ironic from Alanis Morissette, Wonderwall by Oasis.
Oh man,
Uh,
kicking it back.
yeah, High and Dry from Radiohead. I never got into Radiohead. Enter Sandman from Metallica. Great cover.
That was in the '90s. That was in the '80s.
I think that was on Enter Sandman. I think that was on Load. Under the Bridge from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Fly Away, Lenny Kravitz, Hallelujah, Jeff Buckley. They did not play Tears in Heaven, Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
That was on here. And then they finish up with Smells Like Teen Spirit from Nirvana.
Oh, okay.
So there was like
Well,
four violinists,
violinist.
four people that play violin, and they're just around. It kind of looked like a seance, just like a bunch of candles, and they're on
Yeah,
stage and
yeah.
they're just ripping.
That's pretty cool.
So that was cool. It was our favorite restaurant. We just had one bottle of wine. I was so banged up the next morning.
That old age, man, it catches up. What's the food scene like out by you? So I think I've told you before. My wife and I have never been out that way. Surprisingly, it's like we want to visit all 50 states, and you think the easiest one, the easiest place to go would be like Colorado. Quick flights from New York City, get out
Yeah.
there. It's on our agenda to do. But I'm just curious. Like I'm a big foodie, so I love like eating like something that it's well known for, or like a staple. Like what is like the besides
Uh,
Rocky Mountain oysters?
yeah. Green chili is a thing. So like breakfast burritos, that's definitely a thing. The restaurant that we went to Friday night, like a American dining, but it's like a little nicer. It's my favorite restaurant. We go there all the time. And it's also it's private. There's booths. Like there's no like open seating. It's booths.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's nice.
it's just so there's staff is so on point. But as far as the food scene, I think green chili is probably what Colorado is known for. There's some pretty good, actually, I'm not vegan, but there's some good vegan restaurants.
Oh, see, so that's my wife is vegan. I
Oh, is
don't.
she? Is she
Yeah,
celiac
yeah.
too?
No, no, she just
Okay.
no, she's vegan.
My girlfriend's
So
celiac.
so I always have to go ask all the. But I don't mind. I don't care. I eat anything. But
Yeah.
that's good to know. She'd love that then. So that's got to be pretty close to next on our bucket list of places
Uh,
to go.
one of the a very, very good restaurant, one of my favorite ones is a vegan, and it's just outside of downtown Denver. It is really good. It is
What's it called?
very good. What is that place called? Bu-
Well, it doesn't matter. They have good vegan food. So I'll
Yeah,
pick your
and
brain on it
on
another time.
okay, yeah, on Sunday nights they play 90s gangster rap.
That's awesome.
Yeah, City O City. That's what it's called, City O City.
Okay,
So it's
cool.
just
I'll
outside
check
of
it out.
downtown Denver. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, so finished up campaign pilots. We got approval from Google. That was
Dope.
badass. Before we hopped on, we were talking about the theme of kind of music with this interview. I fell into the AI cover rabbit hole over the weekend on YouTube. And yeah, that song Kissed by a Rose from James Hetfield was just freaking incredible.
That's
It
hilarious.
sounds so good. There's one with 50 Cent, there's one with Eminem where he's like I think like a 1940s jazz bar or something. It's Lose Yourself. It sounds really good. Like it's weird like how good it sounds.
Are
Uh,
you getting down all the AI rabbit holes now because of just everything that you're doing? So you think your algorithm is just like, here you go, or did you purposefully look this up?
I did not purposely look it up. I was listening to like a Metallica playlist, I think, and then I think it just popped up, and I was like, oh, what the hell? What is that? I've always thought "Kiss by a Rose" is like a good song.
Amazing song.
Yeah, and then I clicked on it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
That's
So
so cool.
yeah, but I was just listening to Metallica, and then it just popped up.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it's time to should we throw it over to Joseph and get his
Yeah,
take on AI and the app.
let's get him in the room and that chat off then.
All right, here's the interview. All right, we're sitting down and discussing AI with Joseph Perla from Hangout.fm. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Hi, pleasure to be here. Nice to be with you, Charlie and Connor.
Yeah, pleasure, Joseph. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Yeah, Joseph, why don't you tell us who you are and what you're doing with Hangout and what you built?
Yeah, Joseph Perla. I studied actually AI at Princeton. I'm also a dropout PhD in AI, and I've done a lot of entrepreneurship for the last 20 years in Silicon Valley. Different amounts of success. Also worked at Facebook and Lyft early. Did a couple startups as well. But the current thing that I'm working on is Hangout, which is a bit of a unique kind of track from most startups these days. It's really focused on the social factor. There's a big conversation right now about the loneliness epidemic. People are feeling more disconnected than ever. and they don't see the solution that's coming to help them. And I see it very clearly that the solution can partly be about music. Music has connected humans for millions of years. We've been around a campfire singing and dancing and playing on drums for millions of years, and we have kind of lost that. Now with Spotify, it's all about people listening alone, putting in your headphones all day, being unapproachable, and just kind of having this AI personalized feed tell you what to listen to. And so we see it very differently. So we think it's pretty important that you be able to find your tribe online or just bring your friends into a small group, a hangout, as we call it, and pick music for each other. Every song is picked by a human. Every song is carefully curated. You know who is picking the song every 4 minutes, and you're also contributing as well. And the way we did this is through a really fun interface that Gen Z really loves, and it's like a game. So it's been compared to Roblox a lot, and it's like a game, but instead of being focused on exploring physical spaces in 3D, it's focused on audio spaces. So it's focused on music. It's focused on the whole history and repertoire of all music. And that's because we license from Universal Music, Sony Music, and Warner Music. So we have hundreds of millions of tracks, all the music you'd ever want to listen to. We also have SoundCloud integrated. So we have literally more music than any other service all in one place. And you're sharing it with each other, listening together live in this virtual playground where you also are represented as an avatar and you're jumping around, you're dancing, and you feel really connected and present with everybody in it. And that's something really, really unique that we offer. And there's nothing like it when people try it and they always want to come back and share with their friends. And so we finally launched January 19th this year. It went viral among Gen Z. They get it immediately. They love it. They share it. So now we have millions of users using it.
Got it, got it. So was the idea to tackle that loneliness first, and was there was your version one app pretty similar to what it debuted at earlier this year, or was it like completely different when it launched?
The vision has been pretty consistent for a while, yeah. So, yeah, I founded a company that went super viral in 2011. That was a music app that was social, that was shut down by the labels,
Hmm.
called Lovable. And that was really fun, and I learned a lot. But I realized that the right way to do it is to actually license with the labels, do that upfront, and then launch in January this year. And by doing that, we're able to have all the music. It's all legal. We're not worried about a sort of Damocles over our head. And that means that everyone can confidently use us and know it's not going to get shut down. Unlike Napster or some of these bots where kids are playing music and pirating music still. It's just very unsafe.
Right. That makes total sense. Question here from a marketing perspective, kind of just that being my realm. I always talk with a lot of our guests about like validating an idea, and you kind of spoke to that, right? Like there's definitely this pool of people with that loneliness factor and kind of needing a place to go. But did you have a validation period to kind of say, okay, yeah, there's a big enough audience for this, or was it more of a gut feeling for you guys?
It was a gut feeling, but yeah, you should always validate. So what I did was when I had the idea, I was during COVID, I thought, oh, this is clearly great, but maybe it's not the right time or people don't want it or they replaced this idea with something else, right? And so I recommend everybody does this actually. I created a crowdfunding campaign. It was always my dream to do crowdfunding campaigns. Finally, I did one.
Smart.
I said, hey, sign up, pay us. Like, do you want this? Pay us. Pull out your credit card. Give me $1, give me $10, give me $100. A lot of people gave me $100. One person donated $1,000.
Wow.
And then I asked them like, "Oh, are thanks for that. Do you have anything that replaces like this social music? Do you have anything like that?" They said, "No, nothing." And clearly there's a market need. Clearly it's proof that people will pay for this. And I mean, look at Spotify. People are paying more for music than ever, actually. And
Yeah.
Spotify's worth more than ever. So, that market validation is super important. And that means that I can move with confidence with everything I do. I'm not speculating, oh, well, people like it. Maybe they'll like it, but they won't want to pay. Well, no, I
Right.
know they it. I know there's nothing that fills it. I know there's a massive moat since it's very impossible to get these licenses. And then, yeah, and so we're coming in with a solution very quickly, and it lets people be excited to pay. And yeah, it's actually very interesting. you also do a lot of research on the market. That's really important. It's easier than ever with ChatGPT. And one thing I've learned over the years is that Spotify, like if you look at other freemium B2B SaaS applications, you have the freemium users and you have the paying users. And do you know what the normal, can you guess what the normal rate is for paying users in a normal app, any app, any B2B or even consumer app?
Like a percentage wise, you'd say, or you asking Joseph? Jeez, maybe like I'd say 50% to be safe. I'm gonna split it down.
And Charlie?
10.
It's 1 to 5% is
That's
normal.
it.
Oh, holy shit.
No,
Oh,
that premium
man.
is if you're 5%, you're doing really amazing. Like it's normally like 1%. Top like public companies might be like 8%. Like Tinder is like 8%. So that's how it is.
Wow.
But guess what Spotify's subscription rate is?
No
Jeez.
idea.
See,
Uh,
yeah, I don't know. I just answered so wrong. I don't want to make I don't want to make that big mistake
yeah, I want
again.
to cover my.
Enlighten us.
42%. Just
Okay.
way
Yeah.
above everything else. Like people pay for music more than any other service,
Really? Okay.
more than any other thing that they're looking for. And it's just
Wow.
super, super sticky. People sign up forever. They love it. And that's just because it's so core to what we are. And it's a great deal. Like the history of all music, all in your palm of your hand. So all these factors showed me that this is a really big and underserved market. And underserved just because it's just, structurally difficult to enter.
Yeah, no, that's awesome insight and the way you went about the research, the crowdfunding thing. I think that's you've been the first guest who said that, and that makes all the sense in the world, to kind of start with that to, again, kind of validate what you're coming up with. The second part to this too is we're bringing up Spotify a lot already. Was that ever a concern entering the market, knowing that they might be a competitor, or do you not even view them as a competitor because it is a different platform
Yeah, I
altogether?
saw them as very different for years and very complementary. And we are integrated with them. You can import and export playlists with Spotify and Apple Music and SoundCloud. So we really play well with all the solo music apps. So you're gonna listen to music alone while you're running, while you're doing the dishes and things like that. And then sometimes you're gonna want to be social, right? You don't want to be social 24/7. You
Yeah,
might want to
no, that
listen.
makes
You're not gonna be social. You're gonna be
Yeah.
social a few
Yeah.
hours a week.
Got to recharge
And
my batteries.
yeah, so it's a good combo. Interestingly, I'll be honest, like in the last year, basically, Spotify has closely watched us and they've shipped a lot of features that are starting to get into what I'm doing in particular. This like blend feature, jam feature, the messaging they added just a few days ago. And
Mm,
so pretty much now they're 100% a competitor. I've talked to the head of business and we're definitely head to head
Interesting.
competing. Just like me, little fish versus Spotify, $150 billion near monopoly. But we have such a really fun, compelling new product. We have a really good young audience that everyone wants. So I think we're in a good position.
pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting. So I have two notes written down here: massive moat, and then structurally difficult to enter. What advice do you have for builders with that in mind on how to build something that is validated, but also how to build a moat so that incumbent like Spotify, like you're prepared.
Yeah, the moats these days are much different than they were 20 years ago when I got into the business. Like there were technical moats in the past. I'm sure there still are, but it's difficult to really like eventually someone can spend $1 billion, a billion, like literally Elon Musk is spending $1 billion to copy OpenAI, right? So possible usually to do something, even if it's expensive, but that's still a bit of a moat. The moats that we're talking about a lot now with in the age of AI are network effects. So if you build a network of people like Airbnb, like that's, well, AI doesn't make that any easier to enter, right? And maybe a few things, but everybody can implement them as well. So the social network effects are pretty big, right? Meta is, 4 billion people every month, and that's super hard to break through. Like he's just got a complete hold on that. And what else? The other one would be regulatory. So if you have something really unique, like that can be enforced through governments, for example, if you have with music copyright, if you have trademark or some other something like a patentable medicines obviously are patentable. And so if you have something that the government, I think we'll see a lot more government enforced increase in innovation, but also enforced monopolies and things like that.
Got it. So when a big player like Spotify, when you notice like they're doing that, basically what I'm doing, what I created. How do you react?
We're doubling down and out innovating, right? So we already, out innovating them by years. And, even going forward, we're looking at AI features that they're not really, again, structurally designed. They don't have the experience to focus on, right? They don't really competing with us. They don't really have the DNA to do social. And then so we're pretty native with that. I worked at Facebook. My desk was right across
Yeah.
from Mark Zuckerberg. And so can actually start thinking about how do you actually generate AI music in a social way? How do you actually make that a fun thing? How do you make it so it's not AI DJ telling you what to listen to, but how do you make creators out of all of our users so that they can make music sometimes and listen to Jimi Hendrix other times and actually remix and share music together? And so that's some kind of stuff we're exploring right now that's really going to continue to leapfrog what Spotify is catching up with.
That makes total sense. So you kind of talked a little bit too about kind of how AI is impacting the Spotify and the way they go about things, right? So Spotify, I think we all know, creates those custom playlists for you. They're definitely using AI for it and some algorithms that you would think are optimized for engagement. And Spotify has all of this data to kind of validate what they're doing on their side.
So talking more about this year Hangout app. Let's say I sign up. I want to vibe code. I'm going to hop onto Lovable. I'm going to vibe code a,
Yeah,
I
we're
don't know,
sponsored
like
by Lovable, by the way, the last couple of weeks. So
shout
we'll
out
probably,
MP. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's been on a show. Cool guy. I hop onto Lovable. I want to create an app for like payroll, like internal uses payroll. You can talk to it. Blah blah blah. I go into Hangout. What happens then? Do I get a room? I get playlist. I want to listen to Ray Charles. What
Yeah.
happens after that?
Do you have a team?
Yeah, yeah. Let's say you've got a team
Okay.
of like
So yeah, create a Hangout, grab the link, share it with the three people on your team, and say, hey, we're gonna like chill, have some vibe coding music happen while we're vibe coding. And I'll take a turn, you take a turn, Connor takes a turn, and we'll all share what is that we're feeling. We'll share our favorite music. And so we're sharing a little bit about ourselves to our colleagues throughout the day. And that's something that's super, super fun, super powerful, especially in a remote team. You are not building these deep connections because you're only talking once in a while, but music can be one way that you can all get on the same wavelength, literally get on the same wavelength throughout the day and share a bit about yourselves kind of passively in the background, a little bit actively while you pick songs. And that's just a separate channel on the sound while you're, vibe coding, while you're typing that out.
got it. Okay. That's in the room, so streaming the music. And then I assume there's gotta be like playlists and everything for
Yeah, we have playlists, we have
different
uploads,
voices.
upload songs that you make. A lot of producers use this to share with their agents, managers, but also people to share pre-production music, stuff they're playing around with, things they're excited about,
Oh,
and
okay.
spoken word. The sky's the limit. You can do anything with our platform that you'd want to do, and then you can buy little virtual effects as well, or games. You can buy like fireworks and things to really bump up the energy as well. It's really,
Gotcha.
really
Okay.
fun interface.
Can you talk about the build-a-thon with Lovable and the tie-in with Lovable?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, as part of our sponsorship, we hosted a build-a-thon that lets, encourage all our users to build something on Lovable, and it could be about anything. So people built like interactive book that's like choose your own adventure. People built, someone built actually a tool that actually enhances their playlists on Hangout. A very talented person connected the Hangout playlist API and there are a bunch of other possibilities in music filtering and things like that. And then the winner was actually something related to Hangout. It was judged by independent panelists. They won that build-a-thon. And so I think it's really empowering what these vibe coding tools are allowing people to do to hack together something and show a
Yeah.
demo, show a version. You probably build a custom crowdfunding site and, cut out I mean, that's what I did. I built a custom crowdfunding site a few years ago for Hangout that I didn't give any fee to anyone else except Stripe, I guess. But I didn't give out 10 or 20% to Kickstarter or anything. It was just like a totally custom site that
Cool.
you avatar
Yeah,
and
that's
things
real
like
cool.
probably do that with Lovable as well, much more quickly and cheaply, probably.
Cool. So also just kind of sticking with the level of hackathon and everything. Obviously, Hangout has a very human element to it, right? Which is great, and I think that's what separates it. Would there be any message for people who use Lovable or really building any type of AI, like about understanding how to keep some humanity in what they build to kind of keep that personable touch to it?
Yeah, a lot of our users really appreciate that we're not promoting AI playlists, AI DJ, all this
Really?
AI stuff. They're looking for this like haven of humanity where everything else is getting consumed and pushed onto them. And I do want to keep that. So even if we add something with AI, I want to make sure that there's an option for them to keep their space. I think that that should always be an option. Like people are talking about AI a lot right now, but that might not be as true when the AI winter comes, which it always comes. I've been in AI for a long time and I know the history of it. And there's been like 3 or 4 winters before, and there'll be a winter again, and it will have people be very turned off by AI. They'll only see the negatives about it. They'll see the failed promises. And so when you're doing that, you want to make sure you actually have value that's beyond just AI, that you have something that's really useful for people, individual people, that's not about taking people's jobs, that's just about maybe connecting with each other. I think in the past, some people have said, oh, your differentiation for your startup 10 years ago might have been great customer service, right? Unscalable hands-on customer service.
Right.
And if more people are replacing their customer service with AI, then that's probably even more of an advantage if you can do that to make sure people are having a great experience with your product and you're getting good feedback about everything. So,
Yep.
I mean, one important thing I would say is to make sure, if you're building anything, put at the top multiple places, multiple ways for people to reach out to you to give you feedback. Email, Discord, in your app, in a message, like just make it super easy to one or a few clicks tell someone, oh, there's a bug here, there's a bug here. Because your users are going to see things that you're never going to find. You're never going to be able to pay a QA to find all the bugs. You're never going to have the time to find all the bugs, but your users definitely will hit stuff. And if it's hard to tell you, then they just won't tell you. Even if they hit some every day, they won't do it. And so the easier you make it, the more you'll improve the product and the smoother experience you're going to have. Your users are really invaluable. Your first users are so, 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 so valuable. And everybody who builds anything has the same problem. How do you prove that what you built is useful? How do you get those initial users to even know that it's useful? And I was thinking about this. Literally everyone has this problem. So even people who build military defense, like missiles, like you can't just like fire a missile and say, oh, it fires, it works. The US actually like it tries to lend things to Ukraine and things like that, partly to just see if this new stuff works. Like, do these drones work? You have to try it in real combat with like real normal soldiers. Like maybe they don't even speak the language. Like it's really, is it easy to use? Does it hit? Like, what's the response? And, if multi-billion dollar military companies have trouble like ensuring that it's actually working, so do small startups. And you also have a hard, and you can't pay anyone to do that. You can't pay anyone to just pretend to be using it. You can't, no one will sit down for hours and actually care enough to actually use it in a real way. They can pretend to use it if you pay them, but that won't give you real user data.
Yep. And
So,
that's why we stress, on a lot of episodes here that data and tracking is so integral to any launch to just understand that, right? Especially in the initial phases, but obviously later on as well.
and it's data, but that's also 100% on the initial stages because you haven't built anything useful yet. Once you have something useful enough, you're going to have enough users that use it despite the bugs because everything has bugs. WhatsApp
Yeah.
has bugs. Once you have enough people using it, then you'll get enough reports. But until you have something useful, like you're just going to be like throwing people at it and they're going to bounce and they won't come back again.
How do you know
Right.
that moment, Joseph? Like you'd mentioned when you have something useful, you have an idea, but I think something useful might be a little different. How do you know when you have that?
Yeah, when you see people coming back every day, every week, that's when you see it. Sort of retention. It's
Okay.
data, by the way, it's data, but it's also this qualitative feedback. It's also shoulder surfing. Like sit next to somebody who's never seen it before, which is again hard to do, right? You only know a few people. Like you can only try people out for the first time once in a while. But sit next to them, watch them Zoom chat, just watch them how they do it. You learn so much. And that's
It's
also not
shoulder surfing.
that you will get hard information.
Called it shoulder surfing. I love that. I've never heard that term before.
Shoulder
That's
surfing.
awesome. I'm gonna use that now. So anyway, I know sure we want to hear a little bit more about the build, as do our listeners too, right? So we're kind of talking about the validation, competition in the space, the human element of things, getting more into the build. Like what were some of the challenges you faced, right? Because some notes I have here, it's like you launched on web, iOS, and Android simultaneously, which is that's a lot to roll out on all at once, right? Without knowing all of the little bugs or things here or there, perhaps. But
Yeah.
what were the biggest challenges in doing this?
Yeah, I mean the biggest challenge is like what I said, like getting that initial beta user base that is going to keep coming back. Even if it's small, like even if it's just 100 people, like you want to have that beta group to make sure everything's still running. Thankfully now we have enough people testing our app, using our app every day that we don't need to test every little thing because we're going to find out if something breaks immediately. What is the challenge? So it took a while to get the music licenses. So that gave us a lot of lead time to build and build and build, like build all the features, all the dreams I would ever want. It's not just that it's on web and iOS and Android, it's also web and iOS and Android, but also fully featured. It has uploads, it has every music soundtrack, it has 100 million tracks, it has everything, right? And it's global as well, by the way. So it's just that is that's one positive about taking a while, like having a hard deadline of getting the music licenses to have time to build that. And I think if I knew how long it would have taken better, if I knew that it would take years, I would have maybe built a little bit more intentionally, a little bit less rushed as well, which would have reduced technical debt a bit as well. I've also built a lot of things with these vibe coding tools, and I find that they can be really useful to do things really quickly. And I think if it does it really quickly, then it works, then it works. If it doesn't do it immediately, I find it pretty hard to coach it into figuring it out. And so I kind of have to learn to give up faster and just like say, okay, we're not going to add this feature. But there's other features to actually it can figure out for whatever reason. It's hard to know exactly what it knows how to build.
Yeah.
For
No, it's
example, I rewrote my blog using Lovable, which is great. Now it's super fast. It's in React. It's like super, it's way easier to manage because Lovable does little bits of changes for me. And at first it wanted to build, and I spent a bunch of credits trying to build this like backend system with Supabase to add blog posts, but I knew it would be like ugly to type and annoying and couldn't do it on my phone, all this stuff. And I really just wanted Google Docs basically. And then finally, after spending 100 credits in a month, I realized actually I can just write the blog post in Google Docs, which is great, do collaborative like interactions,
mhm.
I can't build anything like that. No one can build anything like that. But once that's good, I can just export the HTML and then give it to Lovable and say, hey, Lovable, save this to my Git repo directly. And that would be kind of like an annoying set of things to do. I could do it. It's not, it's like 5 minutes of typing and working to do it myself, but it's actually quite easy to just drag and drop for Lovable to add it. And that it can definitely do. And so now it's like super fast, all in the Git repo. I don't have millions of blog posts. I just have hundreds. And that's actually the best. Like AI, you can do a totally different kind of workflow that you would never do if you didn't have AI. So I think you have to be a little more creative to get around the limitations, I guess, of what it is easy, what it's good at and what it can figure out and what it can't.
So really quick too. I mean, really the takeaway for me there personally is almost don't force it or don't overthink it, right? If there's a alternate solution that just seems easier, doesn't take up a ton of time, maybe that's just the route to go, right? Instead of trying to force the AI to
Yeah.
do something that it just might not be able to accomplish in a
And you would think it's
timely
like
fashion.
more work, but not to an AI. If the AI is doing the work, it doesn't matter if it's more work. It's hard to get around. It's hard to think about that differently. Like you would never do it this way with humans, but
Right.
So,
Interesting.
Joseph, I have in quotes here, you had mentioned earlier, as we kind of wrap up here, I'll ask two more questions. I have in quotes here, and given your experience, you said there will be a winter again. What makes you say that?
the history of AI is, I think, 53 at Dartmouth. They had a summer conference and they said, oh, Marvin Minsky, oh, we're going to solve AI. First thing we're going to solve is perception. Like we'll just write up some COBOL that will like perceive the world and say that's a refrigerator and that's a hot dog and navigate 3D environments. And we'll just do that in 3 months, right? The summer of AI perception. And then, for 60 years later, they still haven't solved it, right? And self-driving cars still can't perceive a plastic bag correctly. And basically, as humans, we're very good at imagining things. So we're really good at imagining what it could be. And it's not wrong. It's just it's hard to actually say how long it would take, how hard it is. And right now, companies are getting funded by the billions for robots. And there's a lot of really obvious hard things that we're not even close to solving around it. Like a lot of things. And the iRobot founder wrote a bit about it. And it's not going to happen next year, no matter what Elon Musk says. And when things don't happen in the year that it's supposed to happen, then there's a bit of a pullback on the market investment into that. You saw this happen with self-driving cars as well. I was building self-driving cars for Lyft in C++ in 2018, and we had projections like, oh, in 2 years, they'll all be on all over the roads and, making money and all this stuff. Obviously, that didn't happen. Instead, there was a winter in self-driving, a lot of consolidation, a lot of companies went out of business. And now it's basically just Waymo and Tesla that have anything serious on the road. And it's 2025, almost 2026. And they're kind of working on very shiny, sunny cities very slowly. And maybe they're almost as safe as humans, but unclear because they've only done a few million miles of driving. So we're getting closer and closer, but it definitely takes a lot longer. And the thing about AI is that it's such a not winner take all. It's such a like once it does a thing, it just goes skyrocketing. And we saw that with ChatGPT, right? Once ChatGPT could actually do something, GPT-4 could do something like, oh, this almost looks like a human. A billion people are using it now, right? It's just but it's not gonna take it hasn't been taking people's jobs so much, maybe junior people, although I think it's just gonna end up with more pay for senior people because there's no more senior people being trained. So the opposite of losing their job, I think we might end up with even more highly paid senior people. Like, we pay COBOL engineers like $1 million a year now because no one learns COBOL anymore.
Interesting takeaway.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay. On a little lighter note, as we wrap up here, what is next for Hangout? What are you excited about? What's rolling in next year? And will we see Hangout at CES in Las Vegas?
I'll be going to Amsterdam Dance Event, which is the top music conference in Europe, and not CES. Yeah, we're looking at what if you want to collaboratively remix like images and video and music on Hangout, right, together with your friends, like share prompts and do things like that. Would that be interesting? And we're seeing evidence that with Sora 2 and all the stuff that people do want that, but Sora doesn't have licenses for things. And we do. So we're actually in a much better position to capitalize on that and make some really unique, fun social experiences. And obviously that's our bread and butter. So
Yeah, no, right there. All right, cool. So let's wrap this up with a few quick questions I think that the audience will be interested in. So Joseph, what AI tools do you actually use like on the daily?
I'm a big fan of Claude's Anthropic. It is a very well-run company with a lot of my friends are there, and it's a very honest, wonderful set of people. I've done a lot of data analysis with them, writing SQL queries and things like that. I also use ChatGPT for a lot of things like kind of Google is pretty unusable at this point, so I do a lot of searches and queries from that. But I've used 11 Labs to generate voices, and HeyGen I tried to make an avatar of me, although I guess Sora seems to be better at that already. And Lovable, yeah.
Yeah, cool. One thing you think current AI coding tools are missing right now?
So Lovable just launched the Lovable Cloud. That's really helpful. One thing that I wish it could do better is I guess they're pretty focused on React, and I think they could do other languages. I think they could focus on like more obscure languages better. They're better fits for things like the Beam, Erlang, Beam VM, Gleam VM, or I mean it's a bit technical, I guess. I wish that they had better SEO, some of these tools. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have automatic SEO, and that's not so hard. Just some of the choices were made are holding it back.
That's a
But it doesn't
strong
have good
point.
SEO right now. I wish it did. Couldn't
Yeah.
really, unfortunately, one of the things to give up on.
Charlie, you must love hearing that on the SEO front. So
Yeah, I made some posts on LinkedIn. I don't think they want to hear, but this is before we had a MP on the podcast. But they've made strides on the SEO side.
Oh, I think I found that.
Oh, did you?
Just solve this anyway. So I'm trying to fix that right
Okay.
now. I'm not sure I'm realizing, yeah, that might not be a priority, but I think that would be really helpful. Yeah, for my blog.
yeah,
I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
not for.
absolutely. All right. Last question here, Joseph. What's playing on your Hangout? Well, not right now,
Mm.
but what was playing on your Hangout before you jumped on?
I like classic rock a lot, like
Nice.
Way to Heaven, things like that.
There you go. All right, I love it. Okay, cool. So no more questions, Joseph. Why don't you just tell the audience where they can find you, connect with you, anything like that.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at jperla. I also have my blog, jperla.com. I have a bunch of great blog posts there about Sora and games and things like that. Yeah, please reach out. If you have a cool partnership you want to do with Hangout, you can go to our website, go to partnerships.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, Joseph, I really appreciate the time. We appreciate the time, all the insight, as do the listeners. So thanks again, and it was awesome talking with you.
Awesome talking with you too, Charlie and Connor.
Thanks, Joseph. Cheers, man.
What's up, everybody? So just got done talking with Joseph Perla. Really, really interesting conversation. A lot of deep insights as to what he created with Lovable, with Hangout. So definitely check that out. Charlie, what do you think of the talk with Joseph today?
I thought it was pretty good. It was a cool idea from the pandemic as far as bringing people together. I think the music that people listen to tells a lot about a person. So I think it's a cool app. And I mean, yeah, I'll definitely use it.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing for me, again, it's kind of the human element built into an AI app, right? And I think that's something a lot of people miss. So if there's any takeaway for our listeners, it's, keep that human element, that personable touch within it that connects people, because I do think it's got to be the secret sauce as to why Hangouts is so successful, right? Very, very cool concept, very cool app, but just the fact that you're able to connect with so many people on a level like that is what I think really brings it to the forefront. So really enjoyed the talk. Anyway, great interview with Joseph. Let's hop into the Coach's Corner. Today we're going to be talking about Facebook, meta ads, and some page creation here, right? So for any of you listening, Facebook is notorious for being a pain in the butt, but really, really easy to get a page up and running as long as you don't run into any of their glitchy hiccups. So we're going to walk through that today, and then we'll walk through some basic ad campaign setup. And, last week we talked about Google ads, how you set those campaigns up, do some keyword research, some forecasting. Meta is going to be a little different. The reason as to why is because they don't have the same tools and it's not the same way of targeting, right? So what you'll see here is there's no keywords. There is no true forecasting tool, although they'll give you estimated numbers of reach and things like that. But it's really more based on either doing something like retargeting, so website visitors who haven't converted, or you're able to kind of target people based on interests and affinities that they have, locations that they're in, languages they speak, things like that. So for example, if we're going to launch a campaign or set up a campaign example today for campaign pilots, right? Our interest probably lies in people who have the job title, chief marketing officer, marketing manager, analyst, things along those lines. Yep. To really, really dial into the people that we know are going to use this app. And then if we want to spread it out even further, we'll be able to kind of tap into a few other audiences that we can go into. So I'll hop right into it right now. I have my Facebook up to just kind of walk you guys through this here.
And if you're driving, listening, just pull over and pull up YouTube.
Yeah, pull over. No big deal. Just pull up the YouTube. You take a little hour break off of your drive there. But you're always going to start, you obviously need a Facebook account, right? For my example, today we're just going to use my personal account to get everything set up. What I would suggest and recommend is if you're just starting from scratch, you can do it through your personal page. If you don't have one, just create a Facebook account, a personal one, enter in all your information, validate it, verify it. Meta's going to want you to do all that. And this is basically where you're going to land, right? So once you're there, top left corner over here, you're going to see all of these little areas that you can select from. You're going to click see more. And then your drop down, the first place you're going to want to go is pages, right? So we have no existing page right now for campaign pilots, right? And we want to build one because we want to be able to run campaigns through Meta. So first thing I'm going to do is go to pages, like I said. And then on the left-hand side here, you'll see I have a ton of pages I have access to. That's just through my agency. That's just through, my own personal business. But in this case, you might not have anything. And what you can do is simply just click create new profile or page. And you're typically going to want this to be a public page, right? If it was personal, it would be more of like Connor Douglas's profile too, or Charlie Hernandez's profile, right? So you don't want to do that. It's always a public page. And click next. And then you'll just click get started. And listen, they spell this out for you, more or less, right? This isn't this overly complicated thing to do. Again, Meta can be a little funky with getting things validated, approved, etc. So you may run into some issues there, but work with Facebook support to get that untangled, and it usually works. But for now, our page name, we're going to call ourselves Campaign Pilots. Did you want the AI in there, Charlie?
Yeah, we should. One word, though, Campaign Pilots.
Campaign Pilots AI?
Yeah. Campaign Pilots space AI.
Space AI.
Yeah.
Our category is going to be more along the lines of a software than anything else, right? Because that's what we built, is basically software. Then obviously they give you a bunch of categories. So if you're something different, if you're a fashion application, right? You could do something along fashion, clothing store. If it's something else, then you just type the category in or get as close as possible. For us, in this case, it's software. And then our bio is optional. I'm going to pull a bio from here.
Soul crushing grind. Yes. Of the analysis.
Great. That's our bio. And then it's going to be really easy to just go ahead and create the page.
Cool. Okay.
And I won't go through the mundane stuff of too much detail, but I will show you everywhere where you're going to add your logo, your cover photo, additional information about your business if you want to add it. And they may even ask you, like Facebook is doing right here. So contact information, we're going to put the website, the phone number, we're going to leave blank for now if we can, because we don't really want anybody calling us at this point in time. But if we have to put one, we can always put a fake one in for now, or just my phone number. But we'll do connor@campaignpilot.ai. Our address is going to be, Charlie, you want to feed me the address for this bad boy?
Okay, the address is 217 West 18th Street, That's Cheyenne, Wyoming, 82001.
So next, add a profile picture, add a cover photo. I think for now what I'm going to do is just let's save some of these images, cover photo. Again, you can always go back and clean this up afterwards, but just for a decent cover photo for now, show you guys how we would do this. So profile picture, we'll take the logo, right? We need to adjust this. Maybe it's just a CP or something like that. But again, just showing you guys where you go to add all this stuff and then your cover photo here. And then if you want to add an action button, you can, right? So if you wanted to do a custom action button, you're able to do that. You can do book now, sign up, send message, call now, et cetera, et cetera. I think for us, it would really just be learn more. And that's going to open up the website so they can come over to the website to finish their sign up, right?
Cool.
So really, really easy. Next thing on here, keep customizing the page.
Can I Slack you that icon to use?
Yeah, absolutely.
Send that to you. I think I have actually.
And just skip this. Your next stage here is Charlie's looking for that icon. You can invite your friends if you want them to like the page. You can always say at a later point in time. And then staying informed about your page is just setting up your notifications. And there you have it. You've pretty much created your page, right? So there's going to be all these tabs down here. And if we want to edit the cover photo, watch Charlie just sent me one over. Let's do the new cover photo.
Icon, the icon.
Icon, sorry.
Yeah.
This right here.
Have you ever had a Mac or have you always been a PC guy?
Always a PC guy, man. I cannot
Really?
do Macs. Oh my God, they drive me freaking nuts. They
Wow.
drive me nuts. All right, so we have our page set up here, right? Again, we filled out some of our basic information. And if you want to adjust it even further, you can go under your about and adjust your service area if you're a local or regionally based. For us, we're not. We're covering the entire United States, but you do want to kind of put some of your basic information, this email right here, which I would probably change like a support email or something along those lines. Then you have your websites, your social links, price ranges. Like you can go as far with this as you want or as little with it as you want. My suggestion here is to always add as much information as possible. The more you have, the more likely you are to show up in search queries on Facebook. And it just helps eliminate some customer pain points too, right? Because somebody may be going to your Facebook to learn more about you or find a support contact or something along those lines. And if you just leave it like this without any followers, not a lot of information, it doesn't look very credible.
Yeah.
One, and two, it's like you're not helping yourself by leaving this blank. It's just an alternate avenue for people to find you and get to your website. Then you have all of your privacy. So our privacy link, there's no work education here, no place to live, anything like that. It's really just going to be about the contact info, the privacy and legal info. And then you always have the option to get some reviews. And then you have some additional stuff here. If you want to add photos of your platform, of it in use, UGC, things like that, you can go ahead and do it. And then obviously your posts are exactly that. If you want to start running organic posts here or paid posts, boosted posts here, you can do that. And they also give you some very easy tutorials on how to follow and advertise for some of these things, like inviting friends, running a campaign for getting page likes, things like that. So Meta will be pretty good in giving you some initial tutorials, but that's really all you need in order to start getting some ads set up, right? So the one thing I would do after that is got your page in a good spot. You want to start running ads. There's two ways you can do it. You can do Ad Center or create ads, or you can do something that's a little bit more robust, which I would recommend, where you have a little bit more control over your targeting.
What's the difference between Ad Center or do you do Ad Center after you create the ad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
So just what it sounds.
Yep.
Okay.
So exactly. So, and when you go into Ad Center, like I can even show you this here, like you can click advertise, and it's just it's a watered down version of what the campaign manager actually should be, right? So if you wanted to go into do more details, where I would recommend going is going into the ads manager area. And that could be accessed through either just ads manager, or it can be accessed through going back here, going back into the page, and then going into Meta Business Suite right here. Right. So this is really think of Meta Business Suite, where I just went into, as like the cockpit for everything Meta. Okay. Right. Like the front facing stuff I was just on, this is really just your page. You're not going to be able to do a lot here. When you click into Meta Business Suite, again, it's really like the main hub of where you control everything and pull all the levers for your page, for your connections, for your ad campaigns that you're running. And again, this is ultimately where we're going to go and start creating some ads here, right? So after you're in there, you're going to want to go over to your ads manager and then go into something like campaigns. They may want us to go through some initial verifications, probably not. If you don't have a business portfolio, you're going to need to create a business portfolio, right? I have a business portfolio right now. So what I want to do is actually attach this to an already created business portfolio. So for example, my story advertising one. So once you have your page created, what you're going to want to do is go into Meta Business Suite, right? And that's typically just in settings, and you'll see something that just says Meta Business Suite. And then you can click right into your ads manager here, go to campaigns. And if you don't see your account under here yet, it means it hasn't been created. So again, I have a ton of accounts here. You'll typically only have one business portfolio or other asset like that. So I'm going to add this under my own business portfolio here. I'm going to the settings area over there. And what you're going to want to do is under add account, under your business portfolio, you're going to go over here and click add. And then you're just going to create a new ad account, right? And you're going to name this, for this example, campaign pilot, give it the time zone, the dollars, select if it's your business or for another business or client. And we're going to do this with, well, we can do it under Astoria because that's where it was created. Great. And then you'll create the ad account. So typically this is where you'd add in all the payment info, all that stuff. We don't need to do that in order to move forward actually creating the campaign itself. So once you have this created, this is also where you can assign different people into it. Because I created it, I have full control. So Charlie, for you, I'm sure you want some insight here. Do you want to be added to it now? You want to get added later on?
Yeah, I would like to see. You can add me, Charlie at campaignpilots.yeah.
What's your face? You're going to need to log in with your Facebook profile. So just keep that in mind too.
I don't even think I have Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll skip this part for now. But if you ever want to assign people, assign an agency partner, this is the area where you would go and do it.
Okay. So eventually, when we have connectors, which are coming pretty soon for Facebook, would this just feed into that data? Like, could somebody just get a weekly report of these ads?
If it plugs into Campaign Pilots right away, yeah, absolutely. As long as the connector comes through. So in this, and you would typically do that somewhere within the integrations right down here.
Oh,
like
okay.
Connected apps, like right down here.
I don't even want to do any. This just seems like a huge pain in the ass, honestly. Like just the amount of time that this would take, and
it's not as easy as Google, that's for sure. So again, Facebook can be a little funky to navigate, but once you get everything set up, it's a little bit easier to go in and start creating campaigns, right? Okay. So it's like create the ad account, you have it here, and that's where you can then go back in and open it in Ads Manager. And this is where you can really start creating your campaigns, right? So this is what the general setup for Facebook is going to look like. Again, until you add a payment method, nothing's going to run, but let's just create a dummy campaign here. And I want to drive leads. I want to do an auction bid versus a reservation bid. And just the difference here is like auction is just the same way Google works, right? You're bidding or auctioning based on the people you want to see. There could be other people who are targeting the same demographic, same audience, and they may show up over you if they're willing to spend a little bit more at any given time, right? So I typically go with auction instead of reservation, but you can do whichever one you like. And I typically go with leads, but depending on your objective, right? Maybe it's just traffic, maybe it's visibility for awareness, maybe it's sales if you're e-commerce, but in this case, we just want to get leads in. Click continue, and then this is where you're going to set up your campaign, right? So you'll start at the campaign level. We'll call this sample campaign pilot. And again, auction type, leads, and my campaign budget, this is where you would set that. We'll set it at $10 a day. And then we don't have any special ad categories or anything like that, right? And our bid strategy, you can always change this, but we're probably looking for the highest volume. We want the most results for a budget at this point. If you're more concerned with CPA, like your cost per lead, you might want to choose this and then choose what you want that cost per result to be. But in this case, we want to do the highest volume. Go into click next. And then this is where you get into your ad set. This is the actual creative piece of it, right? So we'll call it campaign pilot lead generation. Our conversion location is going to be on the website, and that's because on campaign pilot, the actual conversion action happens on the website directly.
So what specific page would they land on? Like the pricing page, or they just...
You can take them on anything. Like, that's a good question, right? Like you may want to drive them to the pricing page so they can see it right away. You may just want to take them to the home page so they can learn a little bit more about it. You may want to take them to the features because maybe your ad is something about the features of campaign pilots, right? If it is about, like, say your ad's about the pricing and saying, you know, we're $40 less than our next competitor, right? You may want to drive them to the pricing page because you're speaking about pricing. They already see what the tool is about and they just want to get directly to the pricing page. If it's about the features, again, the ad, you need to make some correlation between your ad and what page you're actually landing them on. Because this is just a general ad, I would just lead them to the home page and kind of leave it at that.
Okay, interesting. All right.
To take them to the website. And then this is where you can select your start and end dates for it, right? We're just going to start it today, quote unquote. And now this is where you get into the audience, right? This is basically how you would set up targeting within Meta. So you can use a saved audience. In this case, we need to build a new audience, right? So we're probably looking at everybody in the US, and then we want to go a little bit further with creating an audience, right? So under here, the locations, we have minimum age. Our minimum age is probably, I'd say you want to go 25 above, because you're probably not going to have a lot of people who are under that age that are looking for a tool like this or have the means or expense to do so. So
Yeah.
I would start there. Your languages, again, you want to target it globally. You can do all languages. You don't have to put anything in. We're just going to do English.
Because we're in so many countries, this podcast, would it make sense to list like the top 3 or just leave it at
You could just leave
US?
it blank and it'll just serve. It's just going to serve in English, right? It's just making sure this is the targeting. So it's saying that it's only going to target people who speak English.
Oh, okay.
And because listen, it's not saying if anyone can read and write any language. So, but our ads right now are only going to be written in English. So you may be targeting somebody in Spain and they don't understand English, right? I'm saying, so that's where you might want to take some of this language stuff into consideration.
Got it. Okay.
We're only targeting the US. They're mostly all, probably majority are English speaking or understand English. But for those that don't, again, if you want to cater the ads to them, you're definitely able to do that, and then dial it in a little bit with this languages tab right here.
Gotcha.
Going down here, and now you have your age range. Again, my minimum age was 25. We can even make this more if we want. And then I'd say 65 plus would probably be a stretch. I'd say anywhere from 25 to 60 would be a good spot, right? Genders, we can leave that open. Now, this is really where all the precise targeting comes in. So if we want to look at interests or behaviors, we could do chief marketing officer, as I stated. And you'll see chief marketing officer as a job, right? So you can throw that in as people you're targeting. We could do marketing manager, assistant marketing manager, marketing. Like there's so many different ones you can put in here. For us, it probably makes sense to do assistant marketing manager. You could do.
And all of that can just be bolted on there?
Yep.
All those roles?
You could just layer them on. So this is where you have a lot of freedom to really start seeing what's out there. Data analyst, chief marketing officer, assistant marketing manager. Let's just put marketing.
What about like SEO and like paid ads? And
you could definitely do that. Marketing could be fields of study. You could do SEO. Let's see what shows up here. Let's do search engine. Oh, it was right down there. Let's go back to SEO. That looks better. So you could do SEO, and you could do search engine optimizer, which is a job title, search engine optimization consultant, which is another good one. So again, there's a lot to layer in here depending on what it is that you're offering. And that, again, gives you a little bit of the forecast. Our estimated audience size is 230,000 to 270,000, right? So it's a really, really wide range. I always recommend broad is good to start with, but over time, you're going to start gaining some learnings, right? You might say, okay, I know that my audience are mostly chief marketing officers, right? So maybe you pull some of these out and it helps you dial in the audience definition a little bit more so that you're more efficient with your spend. Because what's going to happen here is a broad definition. It's just going to spit these ads out to everybody that it think applies based on the interests that we've layered in here. And it can sometimes lead to wasted spend. So you just want to be really on top of how the ads are performing.
So know your customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what? Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Long-winded way to say know your customer.
Gotcha.
So after that, you can keep defining it further. Again, I'd recommend doing that. Do your due diligence on what you want to do. And then the next thing you're going to do after you create the ad set is you're going to go next. And this is where all of your creative will go, right? So you want to make sure that one, your Facebook page matches the one that you've created or the one that you already have set up. If there's no Instagram account, then don't worry about it. You don't need to do that. But in this case, the Facebook page is Campaign Pilots AI. And then you can do an ad setup using an existing post that you've done, or you can create an ad. I'd always recommend just creating a separate ad. And then you have single image or video, a carousel or a collection. I usually just do single images, but sometimes do carousels here or there. So after that's done, you're going to keep scrolling down. Your destination is going to be the homepage for now. Our display link can be campaignpilot.ai.
For people building AI who's listening to this, as we pause here, what do you think is like a solid call to action? Would it be like for an ad, like sign up for free 2 weeks, this many messages free? I don't think people care about messages. Like what I'm really asking is like, what would make sense for like, let's just use Campaign Pilots for an example. Would it be like your next marketing analysis free, like on us kind of thing, and then lead them to the pricing page?
Yeah, you could absolutely do that. I think it's tough to say, right? Because
if do you test it?
That's exactly what you do. Because if I had the answer for you, I think I'd be very rich and on a desert island somewhere if I knew exactly what to put for everybody. But That's where I say it comes down to testing, right? Because maybe the audience of chief marketing officers, they don't care about a free report, but they care about getting their first 3 months at half the cost because they know they're going to use the tool. Maybe they do care about getting the free month to validate and test it and then make sure that it's something worthwhile to pay for. So I would definitely test it. I wouldn't make any assumptions. And again, that's a bit of a manual lift, but you could also just do it 1 month at a time. If you don't want to run two against each other, say, hey, we're doing the first month free and we're going to run this for 30 to 60 days, see how it goes. And then for the next 30 to 60 days, we'll run, a different offer and see how it performs against it, right? To the same target audience. You want to keep your controls mostly in place. Your one variable is the offer, right? So don't change anything other than the offer to validate which one is going to work a little bit better.
Got it. Okay. With that in mind, I have Alex Hormozi's offer formula, I guess, of like, what do people really want? How much friction will the user have? What's their end result? Have you read that book, by the way? $100 million offers. It's pretty good. I guess we'll have to use like Claude to come up with that for this. But really what it is like on top of somebody not having to pull out their wallet right away, so no credit card required, how much of their time will it take to do this? So I'm wondering, like, would you put that in the creative for this?
Yeah, you could put like sign up is easy, create an account in seconds, get your marketing analysis in minutes. Like that's what I would do. Get your marketing analysis in minutes, right? That would be a really good one.
Yeah. Okay.
So that leads into the creative. Again, you can upload an image ad or a video ad.
Or a video ad. Okay. Are people using more video now?
Way more video. It's all video now. Yeah, it's just more engaging. So
we'll have to make like a badass commercial then.
Yeah, we're going to have to make like some video ads or some, this is cool. Just, again, taking what they gave us, but it's not a lot. I would probably do like some real video ads here, some real like actual created ads, but it's just for the sake of going through it. And then the next is where you're able to add in everything, right? And this is where you can leverage Claude, ChatGPT, whatever you prefer to use to just come up with all of like your primary text and headlines. So if I'm like, go into chat, let's say I'm looking for 5 headlines, 5 descriptions, and 5 primary text. 5 headlines, only 1 description, 5 primary text for Campaign Pilot, a tool that helps analyze marketing data in seconds. Please come up with a few variations. And let's see what it spits out. These aren't bad, right? Again, you might want to go in and adjust these and massage them later on. But again, for everybody listening, don't sit here taking 30 minutes of your time thinking of headlines and primaries. Like you can always swap those out. They're always interchangeable. Is copy important? Yes. But I think you can get a lot of that done a lot faster than kind of thinking through it for a long time. So headlines, we'll just add all of these into the headline area. And you can add up to 5 headlines. Another suggestion is always max out the amount of headlines you can. The reason I say that is because what Meta will do, Google does the same thing, is it's going to cycle through all these headlines and mix and match it with all the different primary text and the description. And it's going to find the best one based on the click-throughs, the engagement, the amount of leads. So Meta's doing a lot of work in terms of just optimizing the ads for you.
Well, I think that'd be it, huh? I would think like the time that it saves you.
Oh, it's like if I had to sit here and ideate, I'm not a copywriter by any means, but if I had to sit here and think about this, it would take me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't come out probably as good as what this is. And listen, this is straight AI. So, go in, edit it, massage it a little bit. Don't just copy paste like I'm doing. Again, this is more for the sake of walking through the setup, but your offer can then also be, like learn more next. And then it'll give you enhancements. I typically don't use music, but
you do music.
Yep, they do music, animation, enhance the CTA, all that stuff. I typically don't do the animation or music. I think it comes off a little too. I have a lot of faith in Meta's AI to do that the right way.
So if you have a video, how much time, what's the length of time a video can be?
I typically say try and stay within 60 seconds, right? It's like make it an elevator pitch offer. Anything longer than that is more infomercial.
Yeah.
I just don't think you're going to get as many eyeballs on it and just do organic placement. But for ads, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, live within that range. If it goes a little over, that's okay. But I would stay within 60 seconds.
So because I'm the only person that doesn't have Facebook, when you say 60 seconds, is that like as you're scrolling on a feed, you would see the ad and it would just run for 60 seconds? You have to click on it.
No. You would have to click on it and you could scroll right through it if you wanted to.
Got it. Okay.
Like they're not going to force you to look at it. Okay. So after that's done, you have your learn more as your call to action. You can do creative testing. You can do automatic language translation if you want. So if we roll this out internationally, you can do that. And it does a pretty fair job of it. And then all of your website events and everything, which are set up in a different video, and we can go through that at another time. But that's the basic setup, right? And once you kind of click publish, it's going to publish it. Again, we need to put some different ad creative in here that's going to fit more of the model. But it was really more about this is how you get the ad set up, ready to go, and really more about the targeting aspect of it and being able to layer it in as opposed to using keywords like we did with Google Ads last week.
Yeah, I think those targeting on this is so. Have you seen a higher ROAS here on Facebook or on Google Ads? Just in general.
It depends on attribution model, right? Facebook takes a lot of credit even for impressions. So you'll typically see a higher ROAS. Like, for example, if I'm on Facebook or Instagram and I'm doing what you were just doing and I'm scrolling through and I see the ad, but I don't click on it, but maybe I go back to the website organically or through Google 2 days later and I end up converting from those channels, Facebook is going to take full credit for that. Going to say, oh, you saw our ad from Facebook. That means that we must have been the platform that got you to convert. So Facebook will show more ROAS, especially in places like the e-commerce space, but I typically see better results from Google. But this is all very dependent on the product, the service offering, where they are. For campaign pilots, I think this campaign is a great retargeting method, or excuse me, Facebook is a great retargeting platform. I don't look at it as a discovery or visibility platform, or excuse me, discovery and new customer acquisition platform. I would rely on Google more for that than I would for Meta, but I can be wrong.
Okay.
I've been wrong plenty of times, right? So I think you kind of want to get on the platforms that one, you can validate, two, you have, some data about, or you have a wider reach, and don't just spend all of your budget towards it, right? Put a small budget behind it, validate it, as we've said with everything else here. And once you start seeing conversions come through and some action and interaction engagement with your ads, then you know that you can kind of build upon it, add a bit more budget, and build out larger scale campaigns. So that was the very, very quick way of going through Facebook. Again, even frustrating for someone like me who's done this for 15 years in Facebook. They're just always changing the settings. But once you get it in, set up, all the stuff added, and launch it, you're typically in a good spot, right? It'll get a little bit easier to go in and update the creatives and things like that.
So I've been hearing, I've heard just over the time. I've been in SEO for years, but that's the first time I've ever had the curtain peeled back on Facebook ads. That targeting is pretty nuts. That's pretty badass.
The targeting is great. It's just, again, it's such a wide range and can be such a broad audience that you really want to be careful, because it's just, we talked about it with Google. Meta's a business, right? At the end of the day, they need to make their money too. And not saying that they're wasting it. They want you to get results, so you keep using it. But you can go through your budget very quickly if you're not on top of your audiences, your ad engagement, and making sure that you're ultimately getting something in return for it.
Cool. All right. Is that it then? Is that
that's the basic setup again? Okay. Yeah, we can wrap this up. I think that kind of covers most of the 101 stuff. And I'd say next week we can probably get into a little bit more complicated conversion tracking, or we can take a look at analytics and start seeing what some of these metrics are saying across GA4, at least give you guys some definitions there.
All right, let's do it. That's it for episode 20. We'll be back next week. Peace.
Appreciate it.